Okay, a very good afternoon to everybody. This is the evening session of fourth day of our presentations. And today, semester 3 students are going to make presentations on literary theory and criticism. Uh, the students who are going to make presentations, let us have a list of the students who are going to make presentation in this session, and let us have a look at their topics also. So in this list, the sequence also will be, first we will start with Hirva, and she will make presentation on an overview on queer theory, followed by Hinaba Sarvaiya on ecofeminism. Then Himanshi will read on deconstructive study of the Ramayana. Emisha will read on deconstruction in literary studies. Divya Sheta will read on computational humanities, the CLic Corpora project. Divya Parmar will read on explanation of deconstruction with several examples. Dhwani Rajyaguru will make a presentation on defining feminism, a review, followed by Dhruvita, who will read on queer theory and examples. Bhavna will read on eco-criticism. And finally, Aamena's presentation on a portrayal of women's empowerment in selected Indian movies. Okay, so just a reminder that we are live streaming this presentations. All our season is running from 2nd to 7th of October. Tomorrow is the last day. All the presentations, first day of presentations are also uploaded here. On this and the second days, these are the presentations which can be viewed from this website. And right now the presentations are going on here. The live streaming is happening on this website here, which is for the future reference of all the students. You all have submitted your presentation in Google Classroom, and here your work is reflected, and through this Google Classroom and Google Slides you are going to make the presentations. You will be evaluated by teacher on this rubric. These parameters are there, wherein your subject knowledge, your organization of ideas, your elocution, verbal skills, the mechanics of writing, like your presentation slides, grammatical errors, spellings, that will be judged. In non-verbal, your eye contact, body language, enthusiasm will be seen. As you are, as this is going on in hybrid mode, like live streamed also, many of the students, even from semester 1 or any other audience, either on Facebook or YouTube, might be watching you live also. So it will be better if you make eye contact with camera also, time and again. If you have to look at the people also, and also try to have an eye contact with the camera, so that later on when your video is uploaded on your website, it seems like you are speaking with somebody and not just reading the screen. So that difference becomes necessary here. And in the last two parameters are research based parameters. So how well are you integrating your sources to prove your argument? I repeat again, how well are you integrating the sources to prove your argument? So you want to make some arguments, and for that you are taking help from some critics, some theorists, somebody who has observed it very well, and based on that you are making your arguments. And then whomsoever you have referred to or cited their work should be documented in MLS style. So that way you get full score for this if you have done that in a better way. So this is how the teacher's evaluation in Google Classroom through rubric we are doing. You also are doing peer review. The oral presentations are being judged by you also. You are doing self evaluation also, and also peer evaluation. So on this online form you are evaluating your classmates also, and this is how so far it looks like. You have done quite a good work. So 33% is evenly distributed. All of you have done the evaluation without any mistake or error. No duplicate evaluation is done. So it is like evenly distributed, and an overview you can take that how you are judged by your classmates as well as by yourself also. So that gives you an idea. It's a transparent system. Whenever you submit the form, you get a link to observe this. So you can study every day how you are performed, how you are evaluated on your performance by your classmates here. So these are the modes of evaluation: teachers evaluation, and apart from teachers evaluation, we have a peer evaluation and self evaluation also. We hope all these things might be helping you in doing your own self learning and self improvement also. So we expect that as the semester move on, your performance also keeps on improving in your presentation skills, in working on the content that you are finding either from a digital resource or library books, and qualitative work you can also do along with that. Okay, so let us start today's presentation, and the first presentation will be by Hirva. So Hirva, you can come and start with the presentation. After this, will be the next one. Yeah. Once this ends and the question answer ends, then you can start. Even if I'm not here, you can start your program.
Okay. My slide is visible. So my name is Hirva Pandya. Today I am going to tell you about an overview of queer theory. This is my personal information. Points to ponder: introduction, key concept of queer theory in Bollywood movies, literary text, mythical characters, queer theory in recent time, conclusion and work citation. Introduction: queer theory, an academic tool, came about in part from gender sexuality studies that in turn had their origins from lesbian and gay study and feminist theory. Queer theorist contestant is that there is no set normal, only changing norms that people may or may not fit into, making queer theory. Main challenge of queer theorists is disrupt binaries in hopes that this will destroy difference as well as inequality. As the laureatress proposes that queer theory could represent all of these critics together and make it possible to rethink everything about sexuality. Key concept of queer theory. Main idea of queer theory is heteronormativity, which pertains the institution structure of understanding and practical orientation that make heterosexuality seem not only coherent that organized as a sexuality but also privileged. What is heteronormativity? Heteronormativity is a form of a power and control that applies pressure to both straight and gay individuals. Here are the observation by the critics. Uh, the laureates suggest that gay and lesbian sexuality should be studied not as a division of heterosexuality, but their own terms. According to the laureates and queer theorists, more generally, lesbian and gay sexuality in act non-normative, intimate, and social modes of relating. They put new things in the world, and those new things have transformative potential. According to Wilginist, never occurred to us that gender expression ought to be civil right. As Judith Butler quoted about the queer theory, that gender is a choice, that gender is a role, or that gender is a construction that one puts on as one puts on clothes in the morning, that there is one who is prior to this gender, or one who goes to the wardrobe of gender and decide with deliberation which gender it will be today. Queer theory looks at, as noted by Pushpinder Kaur, the construction of sexuality discourse, popular representation of gay and lesbian, public understanding of lesbian identity, representation of institutional structure, link between patriarchy and racism, queer theory in Bollywood movies. There is several movies. I have taken two movies. Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdan. In one article by Akshita Prasad, she noted that this is a film about the gay men. The subject was about male and someone of folks. It rejects the stereotype mentality. In one, this is a Chandigarh Kare Ashiki. In one article by Rohin Bhatt, he argued that Chandigarh Kare Ashiki has missed the mark by a mile in its representation of transgender character in movie that sought to normalize queer relationship. The movie representing lesbian relationship between the two male guy. The film draws dichotomy, dichotomy between her and cis passing trans woman and trans woman who does not have passing privilege. We are studying in literary text as we are studying Orlando. There are the example of queer theory, and it is from the movie idea of movie Vita Sequel, and the this Orlando text is based on that movie, Vita Sequel West. Queer studies in mythical characters like Shikhandi. In Mahabharat, there is two mythical characters, Shikhandi. For the other characters, Shikhandi is male, but for Bhishma Pitama, he is a female, and the other one is Arjun. Arjun is Brihanalla when they were in Agnatwas. But for his brother, he was male guy. But for the Urvashi, so, whom she Urvashi, the Apsara, and Arjun taught him dance. And for the Urvashi, he is female guy. Queer study in recent time. There is a queer study in recent time is from Kolkata. There is a relationship between male guy. One is from Kolkata and the second is from Madras. They were tie knot with each other, and they are confessing that finding a priest for the same 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 gender is was not easy for task for the same gender marriage. Here are the article in the in the article they are confessing this several statements. Conclusion. To sum up the queer theory, it can be said that this theory can be seen in any field, either in films or religion. It also be seen in literary text as well as in recent time also. Work citation. Thank you.
Sir, I'm not able. Uh, my question is how queer theory is linked with racism and patriarchy.
Yes, queer theory is linked with racism and patriarchy because there is, if there is racism, there is patriarchy. Because if white people are more number, then white people are patriarchal towards black people. And if we seen in India that in patriarchal society that male are going to have decision uh, without permission of female character, but because they are believing in patriarchy and racism. But there is it it is not it is linked with each other, rather than Indian and black and white. Rather than Indian, it's black and white identity.
Hirva, can you describe the word heteronormativity based on queer theory?
Heteronormativity, uh, it's based on lesbian gay theory, and it's suggests that same gender relationship.
Slide is visible. Now it's hello everyone. Today is the fourth day of presentation, and today I'm dealing the ecofeminism. This is my personal information. And ecofeminism. Ecofeminism, also called the ecological feminism, branch of feminism that examines the connections between human and nature. The ecofeminism also connect with the women's and nature, and its name was coined by French feminist Francoise de Guibon in 1974. Ecofeminism used the basic feminist tenets, tenets of means of principles of equality between the genders and revoluting of the non-patriarchal or non-linear structures, and a view of world that respect organic process, holistic connections, and the merit of initiation of collaborations. And to these notions, ecofeminism add both commitment to the environment and awareness of the associations made between women and nature. Eco-criticism also dealing with the women's and natures based on the environment awareness of the associations. And ecofeminism had begun two distinct schools of thoughts. First is a radical ecofeminism, and second is a cultural feminism. And radical ecofeminism contained that the dominant patriarchal society equates nature and woman in order to degrade both. In radical ecofeminism, also the view of social and patriarchal view and social and politically way, and the culture feminism is in another hand is described to association with the women's and the environment, and they connected that women have a more intimate relationship with the nature because they are the gender roles and the biology. It means that the culture ecofeminism also dealing with the women's with the natures, and also the mother nature given the name of mothers, and the religion's perspective we have to see that. Uh, and now let's have a look of the roots of ecofeminism. The ecofeminism as a movement has indeed come into its own in the United States in the 1990s, and but it's terms it's given to credit for the intellectuals and theoretical spread work to French women writing in the early 1970s, and the Cubans coined the word ecofeminism, and that in the ecofeminism also connected with aspect of ecofeminism as a simultaneously world side. And according to the Cubans claim that the ecofeminism is the survival in the population of deconstructions of our resources, for have recognized that complex responsibility of the male system insofar as the male in those two dangerous but even favor still have discovered that each of two threats is a logical outcome of one of the two parallel discovery which gave men their powers of 15th century ago, their ability to plant the seed the earth as in woman, and their participation in the act of reproductions. It means the Cubans are the based on the logically view on the view on the discover of the women's are the in the connection participations of in the act of reproductions. And Susan Ehrman's ideas for ecofeminism, it's deals with that how women are connected with the environment, and in the involvement of housekeeping movement and early conservations preservation movement. And housekeeping movement is in the in the US, and that time the women are in these movements are also spreading influence like the given to women's socials and politically rights, and given to equality, and then some point are very initially point are be focused in education, health, and some other point is the importance of housekeeping movement, and then is the preservation movement also, that is the how to preserve the nature's source resources, that is important. And she note that most of these early notions among gender, class, and racial operations and environmental issue we in the women's are also we have to look up the gender, class, races in the environment issue we have to see in that. And men advocate that in reviewing our feminist history, we need to ensure that experience contributions of marginalized people are included. And in the Indian ecofeminist discourse, here we can see the how Indian ecofeminist discourse are applied. That the Vandana Shiva is a prominent Indian ecofeminist thinker and activist. According to Shiva, women and nature have an intricate and intimate relationship, as well as shared a history on ground of common experience of exploitation, degradations, and dominations by the androcentric attitude. It means in that women are abused by the man and not given the respect, less respect to the woman that and the center of the man. And the point of view of Vandana Siva tells that, and the exploitation of nature's women are deprived of their main activity, inspirations for creativity, and a sensitivity of life, and they struggle to conserve their subsistence base. In the context of Vandana Siva gives the example of Chipko movement. We know that the Chipko movement, that the women are hanging the tree and save the tree. That is the inspirational and very inspirational and activity by the woman in the Himalayas protest against the commercial filling of the tree. And Agrawal 1992 is another representative of Indian ecofeminism with the perspective different from that Siva, that according to Agrawal, a woman cannot be considered a homogeneous group, different on the basis of class, race, culture, and class. And she argued that gender dominant cannot be isolated as the sole cause of the degradations of women and nature without attending to political, social, and economical factors inherent in the dominications. It may in that Agrawal are also the this in not be favor of the Siva. That she tells that the political, social factor are more important in the study or in the dominate study of the genders and culture, race, class in the woman. And conclusions, the women as a woman have specially relationship with nature, and ecofeminist argues it proved wrong when one analyzes the various protest movement. Women interactions with the nature and then responses to environmental degradations must be analyzed the local within the material reality of gender, class, race-based divisions of labor, poverty, and power. And women are victims of the environmental degradation as well as active agent in the regeneration and protections of the environment. And this is my references. Yes, Hirva. Ecofeminism, the main goal is the study of the woman's and nature relations of relationship with nature and women's, and that the feminism. The ecofeminism is a branch of feminism, and it's only focus of the woman's relationship with the natures, and it's. And ecofeminism also be the prove that the how women are affected in the natures, and because that the we give women are also portrayed as emotionally and or subjective. That means
Hinaba, as you mentioned in your slide about the two distinctions, radical and second, the cultural ecofeminism. In that you mentioned about the human relationship with nature and gender roles. Can you explain that?
Yes, Aamena, that's a point of culture ecofeminism. The second point, you asked the question that's it's women's are a relationship with nature. It means we know that the natures we give the name of nature as a mothers. We know that the give the name of mothers at the nature also the spreading and preservations and that some things and as a women are very be produce the things that is similarity between the relationship of mothers and natures.
You've got connection back, Wi-Fi. Which one, English one or Namo Wi-Fi? English is disconnected. This Namo, maybe some problem from the server side. So connect another one. Join. Now English is there. No? These laptops are still not connected. So either LAN or connect. LAN is not. LAN is connected. LAN. LAN you don't have that. Okay. There is a separate connector coming. So you can think of like because time and again if you have this problem and if you go anywhere for carrying your laptop for presentation, then you will require. So that you can think of. There is a connector USB connector which connects with Wi-Fi. We had one here also, but now as people are not using, so in many of our laptops also there was no LAN port. So we have purchased a few those connectors, so that can be used. Or the others because I want to share a screen. So if you are connected, then only you will be able to see. Otherwise, you cannot see the screen that I want to share. Okay, you can start then. Yes, you can start. Yeah.
Is it visible? So my topic is deconstructive study of the Ramayana. Now these are my personal informations and these are the points that I have to ponder. The first, it is very important to understand that what is deconstruction. So according to Oxford Dictionary, deconstruction means a method of critical analysis of philosophical and literary languages which emphasizes the internal working of language and conceptual system, the rational quality of meaning and the assumptions implicit in form of expressions. So, the term deconstruction was originated by French philosopher Jacques Derrida in 19th century, and he take reference of this term from Um, Martin Heidegger's project that he wanted to translate it into French from German, and he says that. And Derrida says that deconstruction is not destruction, means deconstruction is not, it is not means to break something or like to apart something, but it is something that is we can use to analyzing something, some text, or we can say something in more smaller part and deeper way. So deconstruction is also we can call literary and philosophical analysis, and some figures, important figures that are related with this deconstructive studies along with Derrida is Paul Demon, J. Hills Miller, and Barban Johnson. And now after that, let us look at what is Ramayana. So Ramayana is the first Sanskrit epic by Valmiki, and it consists 4,000 slokas and 7 canots, like kandas like Aranya Kand, Sundar Kand, Yuddh Kand, or other Kand. And Ramayana is dated variously from 500 BCE to 100 BCE. And we can also say that Ramayana is a story of King Ram and a female protagonist Sita and their marriage. And after that, Sita was abducted by Ravan, the king of Lanka, and the war between Ram and Ravan. So it is also considered as a story of good and evil. And now deconstructive study of Ramayana. So first I have taken several scenes from Ramayana to deconstruct. First scene I have taken is Sita Swayamvar. So we find that Sita, King Janak, the king of Mithila, are organized Sita Swayamvar, the Swayamvar of her daughter, and in that he invited all the kings from various regions. And when we look this, when we analyze or deconstruct this, we find that there are all the men from various regions came together in the Sita Swayamvar to win Sita. So here if we analyze it with feminist point of view, we find that Sita is taken as an object whom everyone wants to win. And there is one shlok also there who is which is telling that how her father only describing her as an object. So it is taken from Balkand Sarg 71, which was from Valmiki Ramayan, that was uploaded by IIT Kanpur. In that he says that I offered my daughter Sita, who looked like a celestial maiden, as a reward for Rama's prowess, and my second daughter Urmila to Lakshmana. I proclaim in 3 times so that there is no doubt about it. So we find that how a father of her daughter is considering her daughter as a reward for Ram, that if he did something good, then I have give my daughter to him as a reward. So according to feminist point of view, it is very, we can say, problematic thing. A woman's personal choice has no paying no place here. Now the second is Sita's kidnapping, or we can say Sita Haran. So in that we find that there is one part in which Sita in the childhood playing with the arrow of Lord Shiva, and that in the Swayamvar, a great kings, there are several kings are also not able to just put up that arrow. And when we see that, because of this incident, we find that how much powerful Sita is. But when Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, we find that Sita are saying, like, some in the slok, she is saying that, oh mean Ravan, are you not ashamed of kidnapping me when I was separated from my husband? So by this statement we find that Sita is like a powerless girl who is dependent on her husband, or we can say her husband is here come as a protector to him. Without him she could not be protected. So she is appealing to Ravan that why you kidnapped me when I was separated from my husband. That means she is saying that, okay, if I am separated from my from my husband, I am weak, and then you say, then you kidnapping me. If I am with my husband, then he will fight with you, he might be fight with you and win, and you cannot able to we can say kidnap me. So we find that she is coming here as a weak character. So the incident when we in the childhood she is powerful, and in this incident of kidnapping the Sita she is weak. So we have confusion between this Ramayana, that which Sita's character is appropriate, which is right, that she is powerful or not. So this is a kind of confusion there. And now the third point is deconstruction of Sita's character. So Sita is always in our present society also, we find that she is believed as a ideal wife, daughter, daughter-in-law, mother, and a woman, and she is a sweet talk woman. But when we see that some of the part in the some of the part of Ramayana, we find that she is speaking something which is not appropriate according to our society also. Today is we can say bad words. The one incident I have taken is when there is a scene that Sita like a golden deer, and she told to Ram that I want that deer, and Ram go to take that deer for Sita. And when Ram killed that deer, he turns into the human, and he shouted that save me Sita, save me Lakshman, these kind of things that she shouted in the voice of Ram. So Sita thinks that okay, Ram is in the trouble, and she told Lakshman to go there and to save Ram. But when Lakshman denied that I have to protect you, that duty is given to me by Ram, so I cannot go there and protect Ram, but I want to protect you. Then she is using very inappropriate words, and we can say in the anger, and that words are like, it is possessed me that you wish Rama's death, you do not rush to him certainly because of greed of me. She is saying that you have greed for me, and that's why you are not going to help Rama. If Rama will die, then your path will be clear. So you have that mentality in your mind. So we find that from when it is coming, that this mentality of Sita, from when it is coming, that she thought that okay, this person have greed for me, Lakshman have greed for me. If it is not in the psyche of Sita, then it is not coming out. If she has that thought in her mind psychologically, then only it is coming out. So we find that when someone now in the present society, people are believing that Sita is like Sati kind of Stri, and she is just denoted to Ram only. Then we find that how where from where this thought of like greed for me is coming. Then also we deconstruct it as in a way that Sita is believing as a sweet talking woman, so she is not using the bad words and other things. Now when Ravan is taking him out, we find that she is in a miserable condition, and she is using several words like which is not appropriate, or we can say acceptable by our society also. So in that time it is not even it is not appropriate that time also. And one example of that I have taken here also. She is saying that oh, ignoble cruel Lakshman, you are a disgrace to your family. I think this great disaster of Rama is a pleasure to you. Now we see that how she is blaming to Lakshman without knowing truth. So here we find that her character like ideal character is breaking down. Now the fourth point I have taken is north south conflict. So in north south conflict we find that Ayodhya is in the north, and Sri Lanka is in the south. So Rama, Lakshman, and Sita is from north, and the tribal people of like Sugriv Sena, or we can say the other people are from south. So now, when Rama, Lakshman, and Sita we here consider as a colonizer, and tribal people of South we can consider as a colonized people. So when Rama, Lakshman, and Sita came to in that part in the South, they are just overpowering, or we can say influenced all the tribal people, and all the tribal people like Sugriv Sena and all other that we have one reference of Navik, or we can say the Botman, who was also influenced by them, and they are just giving orders to them. And we find that the entire Sena, Sugriv Sena was denoted to Ram, to helping him to in his mission, that whatever he want to do, if he want to find Sita, he will they will help them to find Sita. And they are not even, we can say, they are not even caring for their lives. So we find that. And Sugriv we can take as a king of we can say when colonizers came into the India, there are many kings, they are deal with them, and now and after then their entire Sena are belong to that colonizers. So same way, Ram go to the south. They are deal with Sugriv that Ram killed Vali, and in the return they help them to find Sita. So now here Sugriv came as the king, then Ram is colonizer, go to them and tell them to help and deal with them, and then all the Sugriv Sena are belong to Ram only. So how we find that, how he is using that Sugriv Sena also. Now the fifth is Hanuman as a Lakshman savior. There is one scene that Lakshman was fainted, and Hanuman has given that duty to bring that, we can say, mount that medicine for Lakshman from the mountain. So he go to this north, now in the Kashmir, or in the present time it is a Kashmir, and bring that part of, not bring just one, we can say, medicine, but they are bring the entire mountain, the part of mountain there. So in present time, if you find that it is okay if we bring that to save Lakshman, but what about the tribal people who are living there in the north? They are lose their, we can say, fatherly mountains one part. So it is problematic if we are here, we are, like, we can say, heroism, we are giving, considering him great to Hanuman, but the people who are there is not considering him great, even they don't even want to speak their name. So here I have taken one poster which is of Dronagiri Parvat, the place from where Hanuman lifted that Sanjeevani, and they are in the present time also, they are not believing in Hanuman, and they are hating Hanuman because they depart, Hanuman depart a part of mountain from there. Now the sixth is Rama murdered Vali. So we find that Rama has no personal grudge with Vali, and still he murdered Vali. Why? Because he is greedy to find Sita, and in that only the regional people, or we can say tribal people, can help him. So Sugriv and her Sena, and his Sena is the tribal people, and he has agreed to find Sita. So he want to deal with Sugriv. So why he? So he make a deal that, okay, I will kill Vali for you, and then Sugriv will help to find Sita. And because of that grudge, he killed innocent people. So we find that the characteristic that he is always do of Ram, that he is always doing justice, and for the sake of justice he sent her pregnant wife to jungle. It is breaking down here. Now if we see that here, there is one shlok I have taken from Kishkindha Kand, Sarg 19. It is saying that severally battered by stones, hit by trees, and pursued by Rama's arrow, Vali lost consciousness as the end of his life was nearing. So this is showing that how Ram killed that innocent Vali without any without any regret, and then taking care of his son also, Angad. And now the seventh is Rama failed as a good husband and a father. So as we see that he sent her pregnant wife into forest just because of one person from his region telling that your wife is not, we can say, pure or pavitra. He, without knowing or without analyzing that what is the truth, he just sent him to that because of the responsibility as a king. But what about the responsibility as a husband, as a responsibility as a father? So he is not considered here as a good father or good husband. Also he take ordeal of Sita, or we can say Agni Pariksha in our language, that ordeal of Sita. Then see, if we find that this is also not a man, this is not a good husband who is taking ordeal of Sita, even if she is once give that ordeal, she second time, when at the end part of Ramayana, second time when the entire region is telling, and all the people from the region of him telling that we haven't seen that Agni Pariksha that you have seen, that Sita given, so we want this Agni Pariksha again. Then she again asked her to give Agni Pariksha. and Sita denied, and just she just choose to die, or we can say in the go into the land. Then we find that Ashwamegh Yagna he did, and for that Sita wife is must be with him. So he is not think of like going to the forest and take Sita back, but he instead of that he choose to put idol of Sita there. And from this we find that he got so fame that okay, the golden idol of Sita he made and he put, so people get influenced that he is like, oh, he is a great husband, that he made golden idol of his wife. But instead of putting idol, why he is not bringing Sita back? the There is a difference always, like there is, if you put idol there, it doesn't help in Sita that what Sita did with that golden idol. So that we find that he is not proven as a good husband and father. His characteristics are breaking down. Then we find that order of Sita is also Sita. When Ravan kidnapped Sita and Ram are both are separated, and both are met after the completed the war with Ravan. And when Ravan died, they are meeting. And then Ram asking to Sita for the ordeal. Then why not Ram giving that ordeal? Because they both are like separated from each other. They both are not in the contact. Then if the woman can give, has to give order, then why not man has to give? So that patriarchal society or patriarchal thought, we find that it is working here. Or we also find that male dominance here, that only woman has to give that we can say order, not to men. No one asked to give order to men. Now these are my citations, and thank you.
Yes, Himanshi. You mentioned your slide that Sita is a taken of object. The what is how you look up the woman as an object in the present day? If you yes, then why?
Yes, in present time also, woman is somewhere and somehow taken as an object. If we take that example, for example, like what is arranged marriage, and when there is a one ritual in arranged marriage, that the family of that boy are coming to the house of the girl, and they are looking that how she is going and serving the teas and all the things, and they are just observing that how she is looking, how she is behaving. So it is itself, it is like objectifying. We can compare it with like we are going in the market, we want to buy something, we are observing that thing, that okay, if it is working in a working well, then only we have to take we have to buy that thing. So same thing we find in this system also. So they are objectifying objectifying the woman, that they are looking how she is behaving, how she is walking, how she is looking. So how in this way in present time also it is objectifying.
as you mentioned in one slide that Sita is weak without Ram, then the incident of Agni Pariksha is can be seen as weakness of Sita.
No, it is not. It can be not seen as a weakness of Sita, but because there are two in the Ramayana, it is two time when Sita has to. The people asked Sita to give Agni Pariksha, and the first time when she gave Agni Pariksha, it is her own choice to give that Agni Pariksha. And when the second time she has asked to give Agni Pariksha, she rejected because she don't want to give Agni Pariksha. So the first Agni Pariksha, or we can say ordeal, is not we can consider as her weakness, but it is choice of her. And as you mentioned that I have mentioned that with nothing without Ram, Sita is nothing without Ram. So I haven't mentioned that like Sita is nothing without Ram, but we find that through because of Sita's dialogue, it is coming out that Sita is show is there is we can read her character as a weak. She is not telling that I am nothing without Ram, but she is telling that why you separated me from, like, why you kidnapping me when my husband is not there. So we can read that Sita is weak there.
Okay, by the time we get the next one ready, uh, a few things about these three presentations. Okay, in the last one also, when you make a deconstructive reading, there is this binary idea. There is binary. So, what is that one way of reading, which is considered as hegemonic reading or privileged meaning, that should be brought in along with what is the alternative reading. That is, so if you just give alternative reading irrespective of what may be the accepted meaning of the text, then again the reading becomes loop-sided. Or somebody may question that, well, you don't know why Ramayana is written actually. So that may not happen. So why it was actually written, that is the main reading of the text that should be brought in along with the questions that are raised to those narrative. So that one has to be very careful about when you bring in that idea. Without that, if you directly speak, then as you know, nowadays lots of people would say that we are insulted because of this reading or that reading. This is insulting reading. Uh, and recently, you might have come across the debates going around Adi Purush. Only the teaser is released, and yet such a kind of an uproar against that is being made. Even forget about Ram or Sita's character. Even Ravan's character is now defended in such a way that the first impressions of the Ravan in the film looks like he is a Muslim invader. So this even at what level people are objecting, even to a teaser only. So in that case, that main reading is to be brought as a binary opposition, and then you are seeing some loose stones, that is deconstructive reading. And through those loose stones, you are trying to give a new interpretation or a new reading, which is possible also. uh, and the choice of language is very important. It can be read in this way, it must be this also, it can be interpreted in this particular way. This linguistic markers plays a very important role. So without that, if I say it is this, then as if I know Sita very well. Sita was my friend, and Sita told me everything, that whether she liked Agni Pariksha or didn't like Agni Pariksha. That way, as if I am telling that I was really present, not only present, but I was like very friendly with Ram or Sita, and so I know very well what was going in their mind. We don't know. We are far away from those incidents. We know those incidents through the narratives, and we are questioning the narrative. So that point should be very clearly mentioned as a linguistic markers. It's all a matter of language, that how we use language, and that there everything gets reflected there. So that point should not be missed out in a given context, how it is read or being presented also. So we are not certain about what things are said, but we said that possibly we can make this interpretations. Possibly we can give these sorts of readings also. These words are very, very important. In absence of these words, whatever arguments we try to make can be easily falsified also. Okay, then in the previous another two, there were some issues regarding citation. So later on also many times when you come to ask, then it is difficult to remember that what was the point. So it can't be remembered that what are you asking. So on the spot or with screenshot, if you tell, then I can remember and reply the thing. Otherwise it becomes difficult also. This is Hinaba's presentation. Okay, you cited good sources there. This Barbara Gates, Catherine Miles, Hillman Rupers, but these are not used in your presentations. I think you are understanding that point, because once I told you this, that see in this article how Edward Said is used. Edward Said noted, he said this, that. So if you want to do this, then you have to use these names again and again. So for example, when I search this, Rupers I have selected and I try to look, so I find that Rupers is referred only once in the article. It means you have never used earlier, because I have to quickly do the evaluation. You one by one very quickly make your presentation. So I don't have 10 hands or 10 heads also. That one head can listen, the another head can verify, the third head can do other things. So I'm not like Ravan that has multiple heads that I can do that. So very quickly I search and I find it only once. So then I conclude that your citation is not proper. You have not used it in the in-text citation. So that is what is to be seen, that whatever you are using in that comes as work cited. If you are not using it inside, no need to put outside. There is a connection with both the things. In text and at the end of the text are connected with each other. And what is joining them? Alphabetical order. So there, if it is M, then in the M, the reviewer will go and see that name should be there. If it is not there, there is a problem, that it is not done properly. So if you see this Hirva is one. Hirva at one place used this name, Rohin Bhatt. At one place it was used. Rohin Bhatt has noted in this. So that is how it should be. But this article, this is by MET, Gender, Sexuality and Language, or Longing, yeah, and Longing, the representation of queer. Now that you have given, it means like it starts with G, gender. It means that there is no writer. Yes, it means that there is no writer of this. So I have to verify before I want to make any comment. I have to pick up a site and I have to see. So I picked up this site and I have seen this. You can see in the screen this article. Now that article already has a writer, no, Pushpinder Kaur. You can see there, Punjab University. So it should go with Kaur, comma Pushpinder. Now you'll say, yes, it is, we know it, but you are not doing that. No? You know is one thing and doing is different. Then your marks are cut, and then you say that, well, why my marks are cut? I have done everything properly. Then also my marks are cut. So this is where, so there is a real clear name given there, yet it is not there in the, so basic rule of citation you are missing out in this part. There. And see now how many times I have said this, and yet the mistake happens, and yet I have to give clarification. So what we expect, samajhdar ko ishara kafi, that is not happening. So many times, maybe again in the fourth semester, the same things will have to keep on repeating, same simple things. Where it is said to one student, everybody should have understood. Only to one it is to be said, all others might have understood also. But that is not happening yet. So it seems that this topic is very difficult topic. Research writing is very tough. It seems so. because you are not able to grasp that idea. So I'm not telling with guarantee that you are finding it difficult. I'm using the word it seems to me so, because this is happening, and that linguistic marker is very important. That એવું લાગે છે કે તમને આ બધું બહુ અઘરું પડે છે, કારણ કે આ સિમ્પલ વાત હજી સમજાતી નથી કે એનું નામ કે કઈ રીતે ઉલ્લેખ કરવો જોઈએ. So that is necessary, and then when you are citing, that it becomes a very good work also. So in this way, now I may not tell all other that these mistakes are there, but it might be something like that. So you verify yourself. તમે જાતે જ આ બધું ચેક કરો, આ પ્રકારે તમે બધી જગ્યાએ પાસ થઈ જાઓ છો. Then you can ask me that I have done all these things and yet there is some mistake, or I'm not satisfied with the given scores. Okay, you can unmute yourself and share the screen.
My name is Emisha, Ravani, and today we are having the presentation of the paper that is Criticism and Various Literary Theories. So I am going to present myself with the topic that is Deconstruction in Literary Studies. So first, I wanted to put a quote by Jacques Derrida when he was present into the interview kind of thing, and speaker was asking about the tradition, what is the idea that Derrida is carrying with the lens of traditional statement. So he is answering that the traditional statement about language is that it is in itself living, and that writing is the dead part of language. Why he is telling the writing is the dead part of language, that we will get to know the answer later on in my presentation. Who is Jacques Derrida? Um, he was the founder of Deconstruction. Derrida was born in Algeria and studied philosophy in Paris. He was the philosopher, critic, as well as linguistic, because he has done the theory of deconstructions, and uh, there he has mentioned many kind of aspect of linguistic even. He introduced his philosophy in 3 books, all published in 1967, that is Writing and Difference, Speech and Phenomena, and Of Grammatology. It is in these works that he uses the word deconstruction, and it remains today as this description of his philosophy, because when he come to us as a philosopher, the deconstruction word come automatically with him. Now we are going to have an idea that how the deconstruction is going with the literary studies. That is, the Steve Golden has remarked that the deconstruction is complex and nuanced. That we know that every literary theory is somewhere complex, but comparatively, when we see that deconstruction is more complex, when we go to the study the theory, looks at relationships between opposing words or ideas. What it is doing actually, that is, it is looking at the relationship between opposing words or ideas. That we know that binary opposition is working in very well in this idea, that one this both the group which is having the meaning of opposition highlights the injustice present. It is the working under the quota that is highlight the injustice. Injustice means which can be not justified. Still, the deconstruction is going with this idea to get justice with that. Attempts to overturn them, and deconstruction is having goal to be attempted overturn to that ideas. According to Derrida, language is fundamentally and usually subjective, because it is differs reader to reader and individual sense of science. In my next slide, I have mentioned and we will see by very deep in the idea of science which he has given. But here he is telling that in linguistics, language studies, we know that language is fundamental and usually subjective, and we all are having a very different idea of different science. And then The grammatology he has written as a work significantly. And grammatology is having meaning that the scientific study of a writing system. It is the definition by Collins Dictionary. And language is made up of signs. Now he has given the clear idea about how signifier, signified, and signs is working. Signifier meaning the word, sound, image. When we heard the suppose, for example, we are hearing the word that is tree, we visualize the word, sound, image. We get the image in our mind, and that is a very different from each other. Signified that how the word is coming to us and what the idea the word is wanted to convey to us. And the sign is helping us to understand the signifier and signified process. Steve Golden noted that difference, as Derrida wrote in Golden's research work. He has noted that Derrida has told that this principle compels us not only not to the privileged one substance, here the phonic, so-called temporal substance, while excluding another. For example, the graphic, so-called spatial substance, but even to consider every process of signification as a formal play of difference, that is of traces. He is conveying the idea of traces, how traces are becoming the absence in the process of getting meaning of something which are presented front of us. And we can we can have a glimpses of also the structuralism here when while he is making this point, that he has influenced by structuralism and new criticism as well as. So structuralism developed the idea that the structure of mind is the result of evolutionary and genetically determined biological forces, reflect the biological biases of structure. And that is the cognitive meaning of this whole idea. And structuralism was studying the meaning of or the structure of mind. And it was structuralism was going with the psychological field more rather than this linguistic marker field. What was the goal of deconstruction? What this theory did was set the stage for the serious questioning of morality, gender roles, and authority in scripture. We know that scriptures all kind of form we have. Scriptures are there to be constructed. And at there we can find that we can give the question or conflict like morality, gender role is a very kind of highlighted idea in that. Deconstruction in literary studies, as I have said that structuralism and new criticism is very effectively covered up in the idea of deconstruction. And now science and meta languages. What is that? Terms and concepts in which the different sign systems could be described. Meta language term is can be used to make us understand that what the other sign is having the another meaning. Generally examine the individual work not as a self-contained artifact, but as a product of relations with other texts or discourses, literary and non-literary. Here I remember the quote which was by Derrida, that he is telling there is nothing outside the text. That he is maybe he is what he want to tell us that the deconstruction is based on a text itself. There is nothing like outside of text, and we can do a process of deconstruction with the text without any intertext idea. Generally examine sorry. And another point he noted that in the United States in the 1970s and 80s, deconstruction played a major role in the animation and transformation of literary studies by the literary theory, which was concerned with questions about the nature of language, the production of meaning, and the relationship between literature and numerous discourses that structure human experience and its histories. Deconstruction treated work of art not as the harmonious fusion of literal and figurative meanings, but as instances of the intractable conflicts between meanings of different types. It is not going a traditional way of criticism, that is figurative criticism or literary criticism, but it is going beyond that, that is the meaning or different type of meanings of text itself. These readings placed special emphasis on the ways in which the works themselves offered implicit critiques of the categories that critics use to analyze them. Implicit critics can be used in this process, and then potential conflict, that is between what a text says and what it does. Actually, what the exactly what the text want to say to the audience or whatever the people who are there, and what in which sense it is going to be processed. Derridian deconstruction consists in an attempt to reconceive the difference that devises self-consciousness, that is the difference of the off in consciousness of oneself, the self, and we think that there is other of but oneself. But even more than the reconception of difference, and perhaps more importantly, deconstruction attempts to render justice. Indeed, deconstruction is restless in this pursuit since justice is impossible to achieve. Now, deconstruction process itself know that this injustice cannot be achieved, but it is going in the path it has started from. This is my work citation.
So, Emisha, how deconstruction concerned with the nature of language, as you have mentioned in your slide that deconstruction is concerned with the nature of language. Can you explain something about that?
Yes, actually, the deconstruction idea is when we go to the study through the lens of literary studies, it is based on this nature of language, that how the language is problematic. Sometimes we can find in various discourses like political discourses and gender biasness. In that under that columns we can say that nature of language is problematic somewhere, and deconstruction is having that concern to be studied.
Emisha, can you elaborate the structuralism and deconstructions? Both are different terms.
Yes, structural is in the structuralism. There is the one main figure was the, I think, French figure was there, literary figure, and he has done in this term very much contribution. And 'cause structuralism mainly going with the structure of mind, how people are thinking with their own capabilities, and how they are interpreting the language. And deconstruction is going to study like what is the signifier and signified are giving to the people, and how their science is working by that both the terms. There I can say probably the difference between them.
Okay, now see, Himanshi, when you are asking the question, you have to face camera properly. It goes like this. If you are you able to see the screen I am sharing? Visible there? To her, it is not visible. So, do you see? So, this is what the juniors might be watching, and they will also conclude that this is allowed. They will think that this is fair and good way of putting a camera there. So, you have to, like, when you rehearsal is necessary, nothing else. If you do it once, you know, then it becomes easy. If you observe what things are going on and how things happen, then it won't be a problem. This last one, Emisha. So there were no examples were not given. You were doing literary studies, so literary examples are required in that text here. So how do you apply that ideas? As an example, either reading poem or literary text, anything. So only talking about that theory is not enough, but literary studies means applying those ideas in reading of small poems or other things.
Is it visible? Hello friends. Today's my presentation topic is computational humanities, which in which I present the practical aspect under the CLic Corpora. This is my information. Table of content. First, I want to discuss about what is digital humanities, and this computational humanities is studying under digital humanities. Then about some brief about CLic Corpora, and then about that activity that which I done, and several screenshots that I take under the text which I take is that hard times, and the theme is social protest writing and output of search. So what is digital humanities? So while talking about digital humanities, so it is the field of studying, there is binary opposition is there, that digital tools is something that controls our thinking, and humanities is there is freedom. So humanities is that studying philosophy, literature, art, and digital humanities is that what we are studying under humanities through digital tools. So what traditional method of learning humanities is there, it is under the that material aspect. So while searching about some points or some thematic concern, dialogues related that particular thematic concern, it is difficult while we going to search through printed aspect. But what is the beneficial thing in digital tool is that there is through search engine is available in in that particular digital tool. We can search very easily that thematic concern, or what particular character
is thinking and through a linguistic aspect. So CLic corpora is it is the corpus linguistic in context. So linguistic study what characters or what is their thematic concern is that linguistic study through this uh, app. And this app is provide also activity book in which that we can also doing activity and with also provide several examples that teachers and students also can do activities. These are some projects that along with Dickens novels, CLic is projected under Dickens novels. So other like children literature and African American rights, these other projects is also like the Dickens novels. So what in activity book provided by CLic project, that in that there is a character in hard time, Miss Spursich, that she is represent as a fall in social class, because what Miss Percy is a widow and she lived it is obviously uh, it is obvious thing that we must come to know about that novel. And so what through Mrs. Percy character, we come to know about that thematic concern, that social protest writing that is Dickens is providing in hard times. So she fall in social class. So she is widow, that her struggle before he went and before he leave Bounderbury's house, and after her experience through experience about Bounderbury and that relations that is coming up, that aristocracy after the failure of her marriage and after she left that Bounderbury's house as a maid. So while go to that particular site, CLic, then we there is at the right corner there are this index is available, that what in activity book they suggest step by step to doing this activity. And they suggest that there are concordance, substance, clusters, keywords, counts, and text. So while going this site, we come to know they suggest that first going to concords. So this is how the website or site is minimizing our searching area. So while going to concordance, then it will open like this. So there is search the corpora. So there are Dickens novels and other novels like that 19th century novels, the other novels, that Frankenstein, Pride and Prejudice. So they not write that search the novel, they write that corpora, because we are going to search that linguistic aspect or thematic concern, and like under the philosophy or about that character, then only in subset in that box there are all text, short substantion, long substantion, and quotes and non-quotes. These aspects are available. And search for terms. So in that terms we have to in activity book they suggest that term sparsit, because Miss sparsit is presented this theme. So after that while doing that you can see at the right side that in Corpora, I selected Dickens' novel. They also suggested there is no need to select a hard time only, because spreadsheet is also available in Dickens hard time. So we can go through that Dickens novel. Then only in substance their long substantion we choose. Then search for term their spreadsheet, and there is output of 22 times that spreadsheet is coming there. So while there is also beneficial while going while searching in digital tools, that this at the right corner there is books, and in books are available. So this icon is showing that column is showing that black line is showing that in which criteria, in which pages, in which size of that book is this dialogue is coming there. So in the third in first three lines we come to know that first three dialogues which comes is very starting of that novel, and others are somewhere at the center of the book, or somewhere at the last of that ebook. So while putting cursor on that black line, that this is banner is appear, that click to display concordance in book. So then while clicking that, we jumping to here, that how that particular content is reflected in the whole dialogue. So by just one click, we come to know that about this whole result, and about we can also see that what other dialogue, and we can read that dialogue, and hear what spreadsheet feels about her life, or her upbringing, her life, while she talking about Bounderbury. So other options this, that in if we can go to there is needs there is under that highlighted substeps. So if spreadsheet, if we wants to go if we wants to bring the result in sentences, quotes, short substantion, long substantion. So for example, I choose a long substantion. So here is a long substantion that they are showing. So what activity book further said that concurrence in figure that 13 contents. I my research this output that I bring that 22 contents, and this occurrence that how miss spreadsheet which we find should retrieve when limiting the search to long substantion. So while noticing that dialogue, that this spreadsheet open speech, as can be seen from the speech verbal that said miss spreadsheet pursued miss spreadsheet, and that thing. This is my word citation. Thank you.
So, Divya, Sheta, my question is, are you in the favor of merging digital and humanity? As you mentioned that humanity comes with freedom and digital is the boundary. So, when it is merging and becoming one area of study, so are you in the favor of that or against? And in present time, what most of the people are preferring, that are you, the people are in the most people are in the favor or in the against?
So, while talking about favoring,
I favoring in both merging digital and humanities, because as Matthew sorry, I forgot. As Matthew Christenbaum is mentioned in his article that why we studying digital humanities in the English departments only, because this language and English language is very friendly because of its globalization spread. And in the present time that people should follow that what digital humanities is presented, how literature and whatever interdisciplinary fields, whatever people wants to how talking about that literature, then people are follow most of against digitalization. But what is to talk about researching and savior of our research, then digitalization is very much preferring to going with digitalization, because it is save our time, plus save our references, that we can see that several website like Gutenberg, we can easily go through that to search out e-text and find easily with find is whatever we find a particular word, we can find through search engine. So people are follow against digitalization, but it is very difficult to what I feel that it is very difficult to convey that what is digital humanities in within that digital era, though it is the century is very digitalization.
Yes, so my question is that this project, this CLic Corpora, is giving the various tools like activity books and all those you have mentioned. And so, how these tools are helping to evolve our skill into any if it is helping to our skills, if any particular interest, how would you look at that?
So CLic Corpora is a tool that they gave activity book, and uh, this tool is helping to searching what is the philosophical and what is the what is the philosophical aspect, or what we can find that interest in any in literature, that what character that I earlier talked, that thematic concern that we can bring. So in tradition, that in our classroom, without digitalization, or while looking at backward, that in classroom when there was no any phone or laptops or any digitalization, so what teacher is convey what teacher is explained us, that now this dialogue or these certain paragraphs are presenting this particular theme or this particular symbolic reading. But CLic Corpora is the project that through searching within linguistic boxes or linguistic marks, we can jump to that we can easily jump to that dialogues, or that conversation between characters, or within that specific text, and e-text within that e-text. So beneficial part is that to use a CLic Corpora.
You have not made any reference to like traditional reading and this corpora reading. What difference does it make? That is very important to be seen. So you have studied text by Dickens also. So what was the finding then, and is that added in any way when you apply this method, computational humanities? That point needs to be highlighted if there is any difference that is being seen. Like only through this method that can be this can be read. It is not possible to read this, or these findings are not possible in traditional reading. Then somewhere we are reaching to the useful outcome of corpora based reading. So that you have to keep in mind about this activities when you do through CLic book, activity book. Now it is clear. Also in this previous one, Divya Sheta, you start sharing the screen. You start. So in the very first slide, when you are talking about what is digital humanities, you have referred to one definition, but that is not cited. From where are you taking that definition? The other things you have cited about click and other thing, but basic concept, uh, from where is it coming? You have taken this from Indian Southern website. Indian Southern website. So you have to make an entry of what is the title. So the title is literature and the digital humanities. The title entry on that website is literature and the digital humanities. Because if the names are not given, then that way you have to put the things there. Southern Connect State University. It is Southern Connect, Connecticut, Connecticut University. So how will you put that as in text and at the end of the text? That you have to check it out. Yes, let's start.
Hello everyone, myself Divya Parmar. This is presentation session 3 and today is day 4. So my topic is explanation of the deconstruction with the several examples. This is my information. Points to ponder about the Derrida, about the term deconstruction, deconstruction examples, and conclusion and citation. About the Derrida. He was born on July 15 July 1930s at Algeria. Died at 8 October 2004 at Paris, France. He was the French philosopher whose critique of Western philosophy and analysis of the nature of language, writing, and meaning were highly controversial yet immensely influential in much of his intellectual world in the late of 20th century. So, what is deconstruction? Deconstruction from the philosophical and literary analysis derived mainly from work began in the 1960s by the French philosopher Jacques Derrida. In the 1970s, the term was applied to work by Derrida, Paul de Man, J. Hayes Miller, and the Barbara Johnson. Among other scholars, in the 1980s, it distincted more loosely a range of radical theoretical enterprises in diverse areas of humanities and social sciences, including in addition to philosophy and literature, law, psychoanalysis, architecture, anthropology, theology, feminism, gay and lesbian studies, political theory, and historiography and film theories. In popular usages of the term has come to mean a critical uh, dismantling of the traditional modes of thoughts. Definition of deconstruction: the analytical examination of something, such as a theory, often in order to reveal its inadequacy. It is taken from Merriam-Webster dictionary. Meaning of the word deconstruction in simple language. So the word construction means to make something, and deconstruction means to break that construction and reconstruction of it. When we see the word as a literary term, it gives the simple meaning to read any work without looking with the lens of a traditional way to read. History from this is taken from one essay from ResearchGate. The idea of a deconstruction is therefore concerned with the countering the idea of a transcendent origin or a natural referent. It refutes the notion that it is possible to transgress the institution in order to discover something beyond the existence of an independent origin. Idea is famously encapsulated in the phrase, "There is nothing outside of the text," which is often used to summarize Derrida's work. For Derrida, the origin does not exist independently of its institutions, but exists only through its functioning within a classification and therefore within a system of differences. Examples of deconstruction. Here is an advertisement of a Pierce soap. You can show the video. Yes, sir, but it is not opening here. I have uploaded from YouTube here. Okay.
Emisha, please. Volume.
तो आज क्या है? आज हमारा म्यूजिक कंपटीशन है। आपका चेहरा हमारे लिए लकी है। पेयर्स में है 100% ज्यादा ग्लिसरीन। ये आपकी त्वचा की नमी को बनाए रखे और आपके चेहरे को दे एक खास गोल्डन ग्लो। पेयर्स गोल्डन ग्लो।
So here in this advertisement, the dialogue पल्स में है 100% ग्लिसरीन। ये आपकी त्वचा की नमी को बनाए रखे और आपके चेहरे को दे एक खास गोल्डन ग्लो। So when we listen this line, we find the direct meaning of that by use of this phrase Pierce golden glow. So we get the glow on our face. But when we read it or watch it with the lens with the deconstruction, we find that the advertisement makes two problematic statements. First one is, if we want to do any good work, we need a luck. We see the baby girl tells her mother that आपका चेहरा हमारे लिए lucky है. To win any competition, we need a hard work, not a luck. So this is the first deconstruction, and then second is for the advertisement of soap. We find a female character in the center. Why is the mother always the luckiest person for the child? And male characters also can be the luckiest person for the child. But we see in every soap advertisement there is a female character in the center. So here we can see as the work of the maybe the female is more free than the male, so she can concentrate on her beauty or to look beautiful and give a time to child. So the use of the female character in every soap advertisement is आपका चेहरा हमारे लिए लकी है।
पेयर्स में है 100% ज्यादा ग्लिसरीन। ये आपकी त्वचा की नमी को बनाए रखे और आपके चेहरे को दे एक खास गोल्डन ग्लो। पेयर्स गोल्डन ग्लो।
So the second is the Bajaj LED light advertisement.
बेटे कल तुम्हें लड़के वाले
Emisha,
बेटे कल तुम्हें लड़के वाले देखने आ रहे हैं। पर माँ मेरी त्वचा। दीदी इंस्टेंट फेयरनेस चाहिए तो ये लो। ये
साधारण क्रीम असर दिखाए 5 दिनों में, पर बजाज CFL से पाइए बस 1 सेकंड में उजला गोरा रंग। बजाज CFL सब कुछ रोशन कर दे।
बेटे कल तुम्हें लड़के वाले देखने आ रहे हैं। पर माँ
So in this advertisement, the dialogue, दीदी instant fairness चाहिए तो ये लो। साधारण क्रीम असर दिखाए 5 दिनों में, पर बजाज CFL से पाइए 1 सेकंड में उजाला और गोरा रंग। When we see this advertisement, it makes a funny situation, like how can we get the glow by light? When we watch this advertisement, we can deconstruct it within the 2 points of view, like तुझे लड़के देखने आ रहे हैं, पर माँ मेरी स्किन. This dialogue makes the statement that only beautiful girls or a fair skin girls are able to marry. We can see here that the confidence of girls depends on her beauty. The character of black girl is problematic. And the second point of view is that instead of teaching the right way to see a person, the family supports the Bajaj bulb and our daughter looks like a very beautiful girl. This type of a narration makes the statement that for marriage the beauty is must. So we can see that the family also supports her to put a bulb and look beautiful, not teach her to how to this is not a right thing to marry to be a beautiful in every case. So we can deconstruct this advertisement as here in 2 points. So conclusion, the term deconstruction refers to approaches to understand the relationship between the text and meaning. Deconstruction doesn't mean to break something, but it is about analyzing something in smaller parts and a deeper way. So deconstruction by dividing the text into the parts try to make the assumptions that text does have one particular meaning. This is my work citation. Thank you.
Sir, me. No, not that.
In which context, Derrida?
So Divya, my question is, are you seeing any loose loop in second advertisement?
Yes, Divya, I find a loose loop in second advertisement. Rather to explain our daughter that beauty is not necessary to marry. Beauty is not that aspect which everyone have compulsory. But her parents are supporting the bulb to put a bulb and look beautiful and be able to marry. So this is the.
So my question is that you have mentioned in your slide that Derrida's quotation that is there is nothing outside of the text. So in which context Derrida has used that and in deconstruction?
So I have mentioned in my last slide of conclusion, and further it is written that there is nothing outside of text. So the term deconstruction is giving an idea that a new way to read a text. We are reading any literary work or text in a traditional way. There we read it only the direct meaning which is given to us to read. But the deconstruction is a term where change our we can change our view to reading. Like we are not accepting a traditional way and looking what is the inside the meaning of that text. So that is here.
So it seems that in your PPT you have not embedded videos properly. You have put image and linked image. Embedding means insert.
Yes, from insert to YouTube and
No, was it in PPT you prepared? Then you uploaded drive, so it will not work. Such work of connecting that you have to do when you are, because you are changing the software. Earlier you prepared in PowerPoint. Now, see, during that workshop also we have seen that uh, the document which is prepared in PPT is not connecting with certificate. Auto certificate generation was a problem when we were doing workshop. That was because PowerPoint is a different company, Google Slide is a different company, and they are not allowing those linking. So once you put a video, you have prepared in PowerPoint and you have uploaded in Google. But here, see, there is PPTX coming there in your. It should like PPTX means you have saved in the format of PPT. Do you see at the top in the screen I am sharing? You will see PPTX. Do you see that? Now, because of that, it will be a problem. In which format are you saving here? That you have to be very careful. This we will able to see when we were doing that workshop of Teachers Day certificate generation. And we were not able to connect because PPTX was coming. So we have to create and save it in slide format. In PowerPoint format, it is not working. So now see this video I have put here in the same your presentation. Are you seeing? Let me see if you are able to see this slide which I am sharing. Okay. Now see, this is your PPT. This the behind one. This one is your embedded one, and this is what I have done here. Right? You see, two separate things. So now when I play a slideshow, what was there the behind is not visible, but it is linked, so I can see a link there. If I click on that, YouTube will open. But here this way. So second video when you played, I already edited in advance before you came to that slide. So when you came on the second, it worked very well. Did you get why it worked and why was not working? That's what I am telling you. Why the second one worked? Because I edited that and I have replaced that video. So now in live also you can do this. Like your friend is making a presentation, you have a Google slide somewhere and you can keep on updating the site while the presentation is going on. So the latest one gets updated. Also that collaborative work can be done when you work on Google Slides presentation. That is still possible. That can be. Now here is the link. So when I click on this, YouTube is opening. That is what you have done to show the video. This was that. But in the second one, it didn't work because that was replaced in advance. So once you work on this, you have to see that will it work on presentation or not. That we have to be careful about. And you keep on trying using this video resource also, so we can learn something new about how this system is working. So if you use video audio, then we can learn something also from this. Yes, now you can start.
Okay, so this is the quote by Sojourner Truth. I'm gonna deal with defining feminism, a review. This is my personal information. Points I'm gonna deal with definition, history of feminism, waves of feminism, kinds of feminism. So, introduction. India had the matriarchal society tradition. For example, Rigved portrays the queen Nirti of that historical society. She says that I am Rashtri, which means the chief power in the society. She means the apportion, the cultivated led into the members equally. But what happened when the time changed? The matriarchy was changed into the patriarchy, and men allowed to have so many wives, women slaves, property rights, etc. They denied that women, including property, remarry, child custody, even her ovary, all of this, the power of this all have to the man. The Amnesian philosophers like Plato, even Aristotle, Kant, all have supported patriarchy, and Aristotle explained the connection between form and being male and matter of being female. Aristotle also specified the courage of men shown in commanding and women in obeying. Mahabharat also, there is one incident in Mahabharat that Gandhari had closed her eyes for the sake of her blind husband Dhritarashtra. So it was naturally expected that she should become eyes of her blind husband. But what she did, she adopted disability artificially, which was willingly accepted by Mahabharat as well as by the whole society. So it proves the male dominance. Manusmriti also believed at that time the age of marriage of the girl should be 8 years for girl and 24 years for man. So we can say that not in only India, but in the Western culture also, women were struggling hard. So we can summarize patriarchy by this points that first, an individual man holds power through the institution of fatherhood, the symbolical power of father as the essence of patriarchy within the culture and the unconscious, the foundation of patriarchy. Fourth, the patriarchy emerges out of the pre-capitalist, and the fifth, complex relationship between power and their gender, and therefore society needed the empowerment the woman. So now, what is feminism? According to George Ritzer and J. Michael Ryan, they have wrote in the Encyclopedia of Sociology book that feminism is the system of ideas and political practices based on the principle that women are human beings equal to the man. As a system of ideas, feminism includes several alternate discourse like liberal, cultural, materialistic, socialist, radical, psychoanalytic, womanist, and postmodernist. Some writers use the term feminism to refer to a historically specific political movement in the United States and in the Europe, and other writers use it to refer to the belief that there are injustice against the woman, though there is no consensus on the excess list of the injustice. So, according to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, the term feminism has a history in English linked with the women's activism from the late 19th century to the present, and it is useful to distinguish feminist ideas or beliefs from feminist political movement, for even in periods where there has been no significant political activism around the woman, history is the French philosopher. She has reported that Christina de Pizan was the first woman who takes up her pen in defense of her sex in 15th century. Mary Wollstonecraft urged her sister to divorce and criticize the social norms. She believed that the women are rational creature and concentrate on moral demands of equality, particularly in education for women as a source of freedom. According to Ellen Sholter, the history of women's writing in the West is divided into three phases. So the first one is feminine phase, which was from 1840 to 1880, in which women writers imitated the male writers in their norms and artistic standards. The second phase is feminist phase, which was from 1880 to 1920. A different and often separate position was maintained at that time. And the third phase is a female phase, 1920 to now, the contemporary time. A different female identity, style, and content which was in the third phase. Feminist historical require a broad historical geography to integrate the theoretically contribution of women. Now, the waves of feminism, there are three waves: first wave, second wave, and third wave. So, in the first wave of feminism, the first wave feminism term is commonly used in the 19th and early 20th century for European and North American feminist movements. They struggle for women's right to vote and professional participation. Mary Wollstonecraft is a mother of first wave feminism. She published A Vindication of the Rights of Women in 1792. Wollstonecraft argued that women would be equal to men in every aspect if they are provided same education and opportunities as men. She stains again the injustice suffered by women. In this period, the feminists were concerned with the education, employment, marriage laws, plight of intelligent, middle class single women. They were, but what happened in the first wave of feminism? They were mostly connected with concerned with the white women and the upper class and middle class women. Susan B. Antonomy, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucy Stone, Sojourner Truth. These are the first wave feminist thinkers in US. They have struggled for social, civil, and religious condition and rights of women. Now, the second wave of feminism. The second wave of feminism originated from the writings of the British feminist Julian Mitchell with an ideology of radicalism based on economy and social condition. Many of the feminists in 1960 and 1990s were particularly connected to social movement. For example, the anti-Vietnam protest and the civil rights movement happened. They struggle for the reproductive rights, legalizing abortion, birth control, analyzing gender differences, attaining equal rights in political and economical realms, and gaining sexual liberalization. They focused on social economic issues like equality in employment, sexual harassment, the discrimination based on class, race, sexuality, age, ability, ethnicity, religion, political consequences. Now, the third wave of feminism, the last wave, American feminist writer Rebecca Walker has coined this term third wave feminism, which is aimed on the social and economical equality. The major concern of this third wave feminism are sexual freedom, including women from different groups like color, culture, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and low income. However, these feminists are mainly struggled for reproductive rights, protection from violence at home, workplace, and public place. For example, rape and domestic abuse, economical rights as equal pay, Sex Discrimination Act, more female members of parliament, religion right as women clergy, rabbi, and equality at workplace. Kinds of feminism. These are the kinds of feminism: Marxist feminist, liberal feminist, individual feminist, cultural feminist, lesbian feminist, Dalit feminist, literary feminist, radical feminist, postmodern feminist, and the career feminist. If I talk about them very briefly, the liberal feminism is the type of feminism that works within the structure of mainstream society to integrate women into that structure. The individual feminism, it deals with the individuality of women. American feminists define the individualism as a belief that the individual has a primary reality, whereas society is a secondary. Marx believed that on person's individual existence at the same time a social being. The Kalpana Neher, a research scholar, has identified the gendered subjectivities linked to rootedness of bodies, realities of gender, race, and power relations. Cultural feminism deals with cultural and the feminism. So, feminism means the right. Feminism stands for the rights. Culturalism stands for the culture. So, the men are always trying to use cultural elements for inculcating the domination through power. Male and female identities are culturally determined as masculinity and femininity, respectively. So, in patriarchal based culture, women stand in supportive role, exploited relation between male and female, family crisis, identity loss, cultural conflict, and general gap are commonly identified problems. So the cultural feminism holds that the women are more peaceful, cooperative, and nurturing than the men because women reproduce the species. Lesbian feminism. Adrienne Rich was an American lesbian radical feminist who developed an idea of women are originally homosexual based on the De Beauvoir's views. Lesbian feminists believe that lesbianism is a tool to reject compulsory way of life. Feminists claim that the lesbian feminist or cultural feminists totally ignore the need to fight against private property such that institutionalizes patriarchy and gender oppression. Dalit feminism. The structure of the dominant society inherently places man in the roles of power. Dalit literature and Dalit feminism are very close to each other. While Dalit literature fights for all the Dalit people, and Dalit feminism is particularly fights for the women who are having struggle in the it limits the caste structure, the rebellious love story. They emphasize to reformulate the purely upper caste and that lead to more dialectic understanding. Literary feminism. The literary feminism is majorly idea that comes from the Virginia Woolf's writing. In the late 19th century, Woolf noted that movement of women were engaged in struggle for justice, inequality, liberty, and that therefore the some feminist literary critics noted that the construction of gender norms is a radical critique of patriarchy, links between colonialism and the commodification. Education is a mean for society, developing alternatives to existing state policy, and redefining the freedom and empowerment of women. Radical feminism that argued that society is psychologically struggle on needs of the male and order to maintain that women's need are subjugated. Postmodern feminism. Postmodern feminism attempted to construct the social and cultural ideas about gender. They argue that women is a socially defined and inherently distorted term. Postmodern feminist theory is free from prejudice and discrimination. They are aware about the oppression of women, process, empowerment, and the value of unity and personal experiences. And the last one is ecofeminism. The feminism geographer revealed the feminist issues in 1980s. For example, employment, family, welfare, provision, domestic vision of labor. Human geographer focused on the spatial differences, uneven and uniqueness. So the ecofeminism deals with the women's nature, with the environment, development of women's spirituality and women's culture, restriction, restructuring of society to increase the social valuation of women with peace and the ecology. Ecofeminists deform the culture feminist theory and assume that the women are non-violent and tuned with the earth. So these are the top 6 influential women in the feminism. And the first one is Emmeline Pankhurst. The second one is Virginia Woolf, the author. Frida Kahlo, Mexican painter. Betty Friedan, American writer. Chimananda Ngozi, that she is a Nigerian writer. Tawakul Carmen, that she is the journalist. So according to BBC News survey, if we take the economical aspect of feminism, 40% women says that they are feminist in Sweden. Then in the France, 33%, Norway 29%, Great Britain 27%, Denmark 22%, Finland 17%, and Germany 8%. So we can say by this chart that the Western people have more awareness about the feminism idea, feminism term. So almost 1 in 3 people from the top social grade, those in managerial, administrative, and professional occupations, called themselves a feminist in a 2018 poll. So this compared with the 1 in 5 from grades, which include manual workers, state pensioners, casual workers, and the unemployed. But what happened to the lower income backgrounds? They just support the equal rights but unaware about the term feminism. And the books that deal with feminism, these are the books. Some I have taken some example of this. These are my references, and this is the picture is worth 1,000 words. Thank you.
As you mentioned in your presentation, the radical feminism.
So, Dhwani, my question is that as you mentioned in your presentation, the radical feminism. So, can you throw light upon that as like in line? The radical feminism argues that socially is a psychologically structured in the needs of a male, and order to maintain that woman's needs are subjugated. So, I'm not able to understand in that proper meaning. So.
So radical feminism is the type of a feminism in which the women has to have to give the we have to give the right, right. It talks about the rights like marriage, the rights of the divorce, then the who she can have the child. So these kind of the norms that she what words sub what words I forgot that. So that word deals with that she can have this right in that area of marriage, or whether she can have the divorce, or she can have the child with her. So this is the radical feminism.
Yes, Dhwani, my question is how can we define feminism through digital era? Because as all you mentioned through that 19th century and 20th century, then this digitalization of the this era is very much digitalization. So how can we defend feminism through digitalization?
So, if we talk about the present time, the digital time, the idea and the definition of feminism is changed a lot. Specifically, all the women have, as I given the survey answer, the 2015 and 18 answer. So they says that we are feminists. They are aware of their rights. This is the digital time, so they can have the idea of their rights, whether it is culture or national any area. So she can have this area is broad, and she is having the knowledge day by day through the digital way also. And as the present time is changing, so women are becoming more knowledgeable. So one is if I take example of mine, so I am able of that. I am able to know that what is feminism, or for example, if I don't know the term, but still the women know about their idea of what to do, and what if there is something wrong with her, so she can get the idea through the digital way also.
You referred to this quote, no, in the beginning, sojourner truth. So there was that word pint and quart. What is that? Hmm. You can sit there and answer. Okay. Pint and quart. There was this. You can see that. No, you can see this.
So I have studied that in 12th standard. We had this chapter, Sojourner Truth Speech, Ain't I a Woman, and in which the quant and pint example was given there. That means that pint means kind of a liquid. So men are having the quant, but why women are having the pint? That means men are having more liquid in their glass, but women are having less. So this is the symbolical representation of we are having less in compare of men, as far as I know.
Pint and quart are the measurements, like you have liter and milliliter kind of thing. So pint is lesser, quart is more. So that way it is measurement of the cup of liquid and cup. So in midway, we have seen that this record, the sound was not audible there. And so like somebody came to do some work here, and so slightly your attention is diverted and you have a problem here. So that's how you have to be so attentive and concentrative in all the work that throughout the day you do, and you have to maintain that throughout the day, right from the morning till evening. You have to keep all your senses open and see. Little bit of attention is diverted and some mistake happens there. So that's how somebody can. I always tell them, don't call me or don't come to meet this when the presentation days are going on there. So I have to deny so many calls and just ask them to put a message. I can reply messages, but I cannot like make a call or talk with them if they come personally here. Then only a very attentive work is done. And we see many times you people, while the class is going on, you keep on going out and come in, and there is this call and there is that call. So attention is not possible when you are constantly moving in and out of the class through mobile phone. Then it is very doubtful whether you are attentively doing the things there.
Visible?
Yes, you can start.
Hello everyone. This is fourth day of presentation. Today I'm giving presentation about queer theory. What is queer theory? Queer theory can function as a noun, an adjective of, or a verb, but in each case it is defined against the normal or normalizing. Queer theory is not a singular or systematic conceptual or methodological framework, but a collection of intellectual engagement with the relation between sex, gender, sexual desire. According to Merriam-Webster, an approach to literary and cultural study that reject traditional categories of gender and sexuality, it is called queer theory. In Anne-Maria Jacob's article, she says that 10 years ago queer was a term of abuse, but now it is routine in our although controversially used as a self-description. Queer theory traced the intriguing history of same-sex sex over the last century through the mid-century homophile movements, gay liberation, the women's movement, and lesbian feminism to the new concept of queer. Annie Maria Jacobs investigate the arguments of the supporters and opponents of queer theory, finding that its strength lies in its potential to question that very idea of sexual identity. By blending insight from contemporary intellectual theories like post-structuralism and from the work of theories like Judith Butler, Jacobs argued that queer theory is challenge to create new ways of thinking about not just heterosexuality and homosexuality, but also such a seemingly given fixed nation as a sexuality and gender, even men and women. Queer theory demonstrates a radical, exciting new way of analyzing human identity itself. History of queer theory. Queer theory idea arose in 1990 after the when AIDS is spreading in the entire world. At that time, the group emerged in the
nation. Queer theory is concerned with the non-essentialization nature of sexual identity and is premised on the notion of resistance to form of domination, such as heterosexism and homophobia. The historical roots of queer theory are traced from the homosexual rights movement through the gay liberalization movement. This history of homosexual resistance focuses on the grassroots effort of homosexual community to gain control from scientific experts in representing their own experience. This contextualist history provides a perspective for considering the contemporary relevance of queer theory for psychological theorizing and practice. The film theory, the theory idea of queer theory given by Teresa de Lourdes coined the term at University of California in a conference about lesbian and gay sexualities in February 1990. The conference processing were later collection in 1991 special issue of Difference, a journal of feminist cultural study. In her introduction to special issue, Lourdes outlined the central features of queer theory, sketched the field of in broad stroke that have held up remarkably well. History of queer theory. In mid 1970, the French historian and philosopher Michel Foucault published The History of Sexuality, which described the origin of modern homosexual identity. In this sweeping history of sexuality, Foucault created an influential theory of sexual identity formation. For Foucault, sexuality must not be thought of as a kind of natural given which power tries to hold in a cheek, or as an obscure domain which knowledge tries gradually to uncover. It is the name that can be given to historical construct. By rejecting the idea that something called sexuality exists in all of us, waiting to be liberalized, Foucault's work challenged not only how sexuality was understood in popular and scholarly discourse, but also how power was understood. For Foucault, power does not repress a pre-existing sexual identity. It provides the condition needed for sexual identity to multiply. Power is everywhere, although it is not eventually dispraised. He argued that medical discourse, particularly the field of sexology, which applies scientific principle to the study of sexuality, in interested with legal discourse of simultaneously create the need and the means to identify and produce knowledge about sexual identity, particularly the homosexual. Queer theory. According to Marcus Thale, queer theory is a part of the field of queer study whose roots can be found in women's study, feminism theory, and gay and lesbian study, as well as postmodern and post-structuralist theory. The work of Michel Foucault and Judith Butler are often considered the founding texts of queer theory. Sexuality, politics, and queer scholarship connected to its arrived late on the theoretical scene in part because sexuality and gender initially were encouraged in a private rather than in public. According to Marcus Thale, sexuality and gender identity is very personal thing. It is not a social to show everybody and to give an identification to everybody. Representation of LGBTQ community in literature. Harshita Chaudhary mentioned in her article, throughout the Vedic literature, the sex or gender of the human being is clearly divided into three separate categories. These three are prakriti of male, female, and the third one. Generally, the word sex refers to biological sex, gender to psychological behavior and identity. People of third sex are analyzed in the Karma Sutra and broken down into several categories that are still visible today and generally referred to as a male, male as a gay, and a woman as a lesbian. Representation of LGBTQ in literature. The third sex in Kama Sutra is described as a natural mixing of combination of the male and female nature to the point in which they cannot longer be categorized as a male or female in the traditional sense. They are either described as they are not described either as a male or female, but they are mixture of both. They cannot choose the partner as a woman or as a male, as a partner as a wife or as a husband. In 19th century, the 19th century, now the time when queer theory is became the part of education, and now is arising the term. There in century we found many writers from history who have identity like gay and lesbian. There are Oscar Wilde, Virginia Woolf, Arthur Rimmer, Walt Whitman, many other. In 20th century, authors such as James Baldwin, Truman Capote, Emin Foster, Allen Ginsberg are these authors, and their work often achieve critical and commercial success after the writing about this kind of theory and identity. Oscar Wilde, one of the famous writer who has to go jail for the identity of such identity and the punishment for doing such things in this time. Literary scholars often point to Oscar Wilde as an important historical influence on homosexual identity. His metric rise to stardom, criminal prosecution, and 2 years of imprisonment for committing acts of gross indecency. Virginia Woolf is one of the writer who is called as a lesbian. In her work, Orlando and many other work, we found that she openly, not openly, but indirectly, she write about this thing, what she feel in her personal life. In Hindi cinema also we found the representation of queer theory. There are person who belong to this kind of identity. They represent in history like a comedian or as a supporter of hero or kind of protection of hero. But in today's time we see that they are also became the protagonist of the film also. There are the four films: Fire, My Brother Nikhil, Aligarh, and Shubh Mangal Jyada Saudh. In these four films, we found that in Fire there is a lesbian identity kind of character, My Brother Nikhil. In this also the character also feel the sympathy or connection towards his brother. In movie Shubh Mangal Zyada Sadhan, we find the identity theory like in family there always they believe that marriage kind of idea and the force of marriage to do into protagonist. In today's time, it is a time of social media, so we find that the identity, gay identity or lesbian or LGBTQ kind of identity are able to make themselves accept the openly their identity. There are in today's time social media like Instagram and in YouTube became kind of attraction to everybody, so they are able to accept their identity in openly in social media or feel proud. Or also there people who support some people are there who support and follow also, they also protect this kind of identity and support them. Conclusion: times are changing with that sexual minority are slowly finding a place in Hindi cinema and society also. Representation of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and other who identify as a queer in film in positive manner has act as a balm for the community. The Indian society is changing, and with the mindset of the people, also this is changing. The commercial failure of LGBTQ film also raise a big question whether the attitude of the people towards LGBTQ community is changed or changing or has changed or yet to be changed. This kind of idea, we have a question like now as a queer theory arise in 1990, so it's not at that much time. It is like a newborn theory in that time, but is as a future, what is the future of queer theory is something to be waiting for everybody like if they get identity or what. Now it is a time where everybody accept this kind of identity or ready to accept their identity openly and say about it and talk about it. These are my citation. Thank you.
So, Dhruvita, as you mentioned in the views of Harshita Chaudhary, so she how she has made her Vedic research, like you have mentioned the three prakritis, like female prakriti, male prakriti, and the tritiya prakriti. So, what is your read upon that?
Harshita Chaudhary write article about the three identity. As she mentioned that queer identity is something else. As a main identity, men have something like they can marriage with a woman. Women have identity that they can marriage with a they have a husband and a husband have a wife. But she put a question like, so what about LGBTQ identity? What who is for them? So her article all about this thing like there is only two personal. This is called as a third only. They cannot as a called as a man or woman. This is called as a third gender.
So can you tell more about LGBTQs as a social media influencer point? Yes.
As in today's time we see that everyone was doing marketing or globalization time when everybody is whatever they have to tell to everybody, announce something. Social media is something which is within a second, minor second, they can change, send their message or whatever they want to say. And in today's time everybody is on a social media, so they are openly say about their identity. They are like in today's time is a digital time, so they can accept their identity on social media or become influencer and openly say about or speak about their identity. And not they are not forcing anybody to accept those people, but they are showing other, they are attracting other who are not able to accept their own identity as LGBTQ or gay. They motivate those people that as we are accepting, you can also do this thing. So this in this way they can influence other people. Hello everyone, I'm Bhavna Sosa. Today I'm going to present eco-criticism theory. This is personal information and eco-criticism introduction. The word eco-criticism is a semi-neologism. Eco is short of ecology, which is concerned with the relationship between a living organism in their natural environment as well as their relationship with that environment. Some of most widely known eco-critics are Lawrence Boyle, Cheryl Glotfelty, Simon C. Stock, Harold Fromm, William Howard, William Ruckert, Sulen Campbell, Michael P. Branch, and Glenn Ellow. Definition of eco-criticism. Here, Cheryl Glot Felty defines. Simply put, eco-criticism is the study of the relationship between literature and physical environment, just as feminist criticism examines language and literature from a gender-conscious perspective, and Marxist criticism brings an answerness of modes of production and economic
class to its reading of text. Eco-criticism takes an earth-centered approach to literary studies. Characteristic of eco-criticism. Peter Berry's book Begin Theory writes that eco-criticism has no universal model. Eco-criticism studies nature, which here means the whole of the physical environment consisting of the living and the non-living things. Then eco-criticism studies wilderness. So because it is in the wilderness, we may renew ourselves far from noises and pollution of city life. Eco-criticism makes a call for a return to nature, a relationship between nature and literature. There has been a close relationship between nature and literature. This relationship has been reflected through writers and poets throughout different cultures across the world. A variety of novels, poems, and other expressions of literature have been depicted on the backdrop of issues concerning nature, reflections of eco-criticism in literature. In many literary work in English, nature has been a leading issue. Colonialism has been a significant factor in the devastation of environment worldwide. The conversion in the social and cultural environments of the world have completely changed the representation of men attitude towards nature in literary expressions. uh, Eco-criticism in Indian literature. So, The Hungry Tide by Amitav Ghosh. It is published in 2000. Is one of the first Indian novel to strongly raised ecological issues of India. The resistance between land and the sea in this Sundarban creates a constant resistance between the plant and animal life. Then next, Nectar in a Shiv. It is written by Kamla Markandeya's novel. Then it is published in 1954. Describes the female protagonist Rukmani's attempt to regain and restore elements of her family's rural life and a strong sense of rootedness to their land. Beth Jeleni says Markandeya implicitly connects woman and landscape through her recurring use of seeds imagery as giver and nurture and endure of life. A woman participates in the cycle of life as seeds then seedling. Which ultimately becomes part of the soil, then supports future seeds. Then two waves of eco-criticism as identified by Lawrence Buell. The first wave, eco-critics, focused on the nature writing, nature poetry, and wilderness fiction. They used to uphold the philosophy of organism. Here, environment effectively means natural environment. The aim of the wave was to preserve biotic community. The eco-critics of this wave appraised the effects of culture upon nature with a view towards celebrating nature, berating its despoilers and reversing their harm through political action. The second was eco-critics inclined towards environmental justice issues and a social eco-criticism which considers urban landscape as seriously as a natural landscape. This wave of eco-criticism is also named a revisionist eco-criticism. It seeks to locate the vestiges of nature in cities and exposes crimes of injustice against society's marginal section. The eco-critics interpret nature writing text. In conclusion, to conclude, I would like to state that eco-criticism is the combinations of ecology and expression of the theory. It seeks to inquire into its reach and studies the interdependence of man and nature. Nature imageries have been used by many writers to express their desires, shortcomings, and emotions of their characters. Here is citation.
So, as you said on the very first line of presentation, that ecofeminism is neologism. Can you explain how?
Yes, eco-criticism as a theory of he also connect with neologism because his nature and literature also it connect.
How eco-criticism is a study between relation between literature and environment, physical environment.
Eco-criticism is studying in literature in environment. In environment is also related with nature, and literature connected study with many texts in nature related.
Let me share this. Uh, this was in Dhwani's presentation. So while going through this citations, by and large, the citations were well cited. Only indentation is required. The first line should be near the margin. All other lines should be pushed back. That is called hanging paragraph style. When you do the citation, it should be done in hanging paragraph style. That is one issue. Another one, you cited BBC News. That is cited. Now that also should go by the name of the reporter. So no, but so that's what. So when I looked at that BBC report, you can see on the screen. This is what you cited. Why so many young women don't call themselves feminist? So I just scroll down and here, by Dr. Christina Shra. It was not difficult at all. So that is what, see, many times you are coming, this, and I have tried. So I have to try and show you. This is so easy. But when, like, I don't have tools and you orally ask, I can't give you answer. I have to check. If you just come and say, then I have to check and then I have to answer. And on the spot, how can I say it is there or it is not there? So you take your own answers, which are wrong answers. Sir, I કહ્યું કે ભાઈ નથી તો જવા દો. એવું નથી. It is there. But you are not looking for, and then you are telling that you have seen and it is not there. So now, once 2 or 3 times this happens, I don't rely on what you say. Are you getting the point? You cry wolf, wolf, tiger, tiger. Tiger is not there. So then I don't, in the morning also I have to tell the same thing. That so because from that group also, when I tell them that you have to do this, you have to get the memes, they say that no, there is nothing, not available. This quality resource is not there. We are getting only study material sites. So I said it is not this. So today I found the material and told them that so this is where. Why are you citing study material? Why from there you are not going to quality material? I checked everything, downloaded and showed them that this is how you have to do. So otherwise, you come and tell that it is not possible. And I know you are lying. You have not tried properly, or you don't know how to try properly. So you are not lying, but still for me you are a liar only. You think ના અમે તો બહુ સાચું બોલ્યા છે, મારા માટે ખોટું જ કહેવાય, કારણ કે તમે પૂરી પ્રયત્ન કર્યો નથી. આ મેં ઉદાહરણ તમને બતાવ્યું, સાવ સામે લખ્યું છે ના, એકદમ exactly before. Then also you were telling I tried but I was not able to find. So that is what is happening time and again. So I gave example in the morning that કોઈ ક્રિકેટરના કોચ હોય રમાકાંત આચરેકર, જેમ સચિનના કોચ છે, અને સચિનને શીખવાડતા હોય તો એમ કે પેલા તમે સેન્ચુરી મારીને આવો પછી મને કહો. એટલે રમાકાંત આચરેકર રમવા જાય, સિલેક્ટ થાય, સેન્ચુરી મારે, પછી પાછા સચિનને કે જો આમ કરવા, તમે આવું મારી પાસે કરાવો છો. I tell that you are not understanding. તમને એમ કે ભાઈ આમ રમવાનું તો એમ રમવાનું હોય, તમે કહો ના ના એમ નથી રમાતું, એમ તો બોલ જ નથી આવતો, કે એમાં તો પીચમાં બોલ સ્પિન થાય છે, આ થાય છે, એવા બહાના કાઢો છો. So you have to like, so I have to play, I have to make century, and then I have to tell you, જો મેં સેન્ચુરી બનાવી તમે બનાવો. That's why I have shown, that's why I'm checking, cross checking and telling it is there. And normally I'm not allowing you to give clarification, કારણ કે તમે જે clarification આપે એમાં તમે પકડાઈ જાવ પાછું. એટલે તમને હું clarification આપવા નથી દેતો, કારણ કે તમે જેમ બોલશો એમ વધુ ને વધુ ખોટું જ બોલશો. That's why I don't allow you to clarify and tell you directly. પણ ડિરેક્ટલી કહેવામાં ક્યારેક એવું થાય કે તમે એમ શું ના અમને તો બધી ખબર હતી જ, કે તમે ખોટું કહ્યું, તમે ન કહ્યું હોય તો અમે પહેલેથી જાણતા હતા, જન્મ ત્યારથી જ આ બધું જાણીને આવ્યા છે, એટલે તમારે કઈ કહેવાની જરૂર નહોતી. આવું નહીતર મનમાં ભાવ જાગે કે અમને તો બધી ખબર છે, અમને તો બધું આવડે જ. So when you do, then this happens that, so when it is told to you that this is the thing, then it means it is there. Only thing you need to like cross check, cross verify, otherwise it might not be told to you that you have to do these things in this or the another manner. Okay, you can share your screen.
Hello everyone, my today's topic is based on portrayal of women's empowerment in selected Indian movies. Definition of feminism I've taken from Merriam-Webster dictionary. Feminism is belief in advocacy of political, economic and social equality of sexes expressed through, especially through organized activity on behalf of women's rights. And second one I have taken from Britannica. Feminism is a belief in social, economic, and political equality of sexes. Although largely originating in West, feminism is manifested worldwide and is represented by various institutions committed actively on behalf of women's rights and interests. This two definition talks about the female equality around society, economic, and political equalities of female. Simandi Bua in his book The Second Sex, he argued the work that male is at the subject and female is always the object. So he's shown the relation between male and woman, and therefore constantly arrange in his subject about relations between man is a subject and woman is the other. So by this perspective, I will further. Introduction of feminism. Feminism is an empowerment of women, gender equality, and frequently discussed concept in contemporary India. In today's topic, I will discuss about few Indian Hindi films which shows the empowerment of women. Recently, the status of women have been
evaluated about various conventions embedding women to take part in business, politics, law, science, medicine, and sports. And now women are getting many chances. They can do what they want to do. They have freedom, independence. So by that perspective, I will further deal movie and sociological transformation. Nowadays in Hindi cinema also we can see the portrayal of woman in very positive way, very educated, independent, economically also independent. With an example of some Indian movies that deal with the issue of how women can become and more empowered. So the first movie I've taken is English, which is of 2012, directed by Gauri Shinde. In this movie, the character is Shashi, who is a housewife and also having a small business. She doesn't know to speak English, so her husband and daughter are torturing her that you are very weak and you don't know, and she's facing the problems. And when she goes to New York for 15 days for the family wedding, there she by her own self get her teaching of English, and she learns English by her own self, her own growth. In this movie, we can see two things, two messages we can get from this movie. First, the freedom of herself and powerful weapon is called the education, and second is there should no use of yardstick to measure the value. Means we should not value the woman by their measurement. This movie contains a two-part guide of how women can attain self-actualization in modern India. That how Shashi herself learned and became a free, independent girl, and she can speak English very fluently. Now, the next movie is Dangal, which is of 2016. In this, we can see the gender discrimination in sports in India. The movie has struggles with two young women, Geeta and Babita. Her father is a whistler, and he trains her two daughters for the training. And when they both are going for and eventually when they both are going for their whistlers tournament or some final, they are very afraid that how can we face this type of environment against the boys. But his father supports, and his father says that there is no difference in sports between the gender. When they learn that we can win matches against boys, again self confidence. Firstly, both the daughters were feeling very stressed that our father is forcing us to do forcing us for this training. But later on, they came to self realize that it's not the force but it's truth. In this movie rise the awareness in India that boys and girls need equal opportunity to develop their skill in sports society and can be transforming processes. People learn that equality opportunity and gender equality can release the power of all individuals. Now next movie is Pink, which is of 2016. In this this movie reveals about the woman and how society views them. uh, there is a character, there is three professional women living in an apartment. uh, uh, Through a male friend, they meet Rajveer Singh at a music concert, and he has organized a party in the resort. And there at the party, they are having a drink, and Rajveer believes that the woman who have drank have primed for have sex. So and the other acts on that, he has the belief of that time. So in the defense, this Minal hit the bottle to Rajveer for defending herself from being raped. Rajveer wants the revenge on this. So Rajveer goes. So Rajveer goes for the legal complaint before the Minal goes for it. Only through this skillful work of Minal, attorney, does the full truth come to light? In the effect of lawyer puts society on trial for tolerating men's violence toward women, choose only crime is agreeing to spend time with a single man. Now at last, in the law lawyer comes and he asks different types of questions. So the fundamental question raised by movie involves attitude towards proper female behavior and why women are considered wrong morally by meeting with men. These are the questions. Why do so many consider that women sluts if they wear short skirts? Should drinking alcohol make women targeted of male aggression? Why are women always receiving and end considered guilty before a trial begins? Why do people resist respecting the choices made by women? And why should men assume women are offering sex merely because the woman agreed to meet them? These were the questions raised by the lawyer. The ultimate problem lies between the uh, women who exercise autonomy but with the men who are not able to handle autonomous and opinioned women. We see the narrow-minded men always try to limit the freedom of women by asking the questions of morality. Uh, for their safety and well-being, women should have the right to fight against their disadvantages taken by the men, and women are not puppet or object to be used. The movie raises the importance of the issue among the problems, and it is like taking a drop of water from an ocean. These are my sources, and thank you.
How do you look at feminism in contemporary time?
In contemporary time, we can see equality among in many field. We can see the women are given chance, but in as we talk about the orthodox also, there is in the village area we can see the women are not given that much chance to come forward in some cases, but in today's world they are also given chance.
Aamena, what is your point of view in present time, the feminist perspective through movie in female character?
In these three movies, I have tried to look at the female empowerment. Nowadays, even the Hindi cinema is also showing the empowerment of women, that how after the struggling and fighting for equality, women are coming and being independent.
Aamena, you have taken the reference of film that is Pink. So, what you think about that? It is going with the morality or the term that is consent under the feminism discourse?
Movie Pink, we can see that there is a type of patriarchal issue, that the male character is this lady character Minna. She hit the glass bottle to the Rajveer, but the society is not ready to accept. But she herself knows that I have done this for my protection. So but when at the last in the movie we can see the lawyer is asking the questions against the society, the questions I have shown in my PPT. So this type of question were raised in the movie, so that we can see this movie see it in the wide range, that how women are coming front, and society should see the woman, not their even see their background, that what is reality, not just the outer part.
So that point you have to keep in mind, that how that works. Without that, quality content, some of you are reaching, and that is good. If you reach to the quality content and bring those resources, that is very helpful. Otherwise, citation we are talking in between, so those errors are repeatedly coming in many of your writing also still, that maybe you are hurriedly making, so not able to bring all the things together. The trick is this only, that you want to tell something, you go to resource and then you use that resource in text, and so you require, so you make it out of text. If that system you work, then there is no error in citation. There is no error as such in the, if that way you work. But normally we work in a reverse way. First you prepare the thing and then go for citations. Then you try to look that now let me prepare the citation. So citation is not prepared at the end of the thing. It is prepared while things are going on. So while you are writing, as soon as the source comes, you cite it. So at the end, you just have to make it alphabetically only. It is already getting ready while you are doing the, then none of the sources will be missed out in this. And this requires multitasking. Normally it doesn't happen, like, because our half concentration is in the idea that we are developing when we are writing, and in between you have to do this. So comes digital tools. So there are tools like Mendeley and Zotero, which works on laptop, or automatic tools where you click and they try to record something, they bookmark something. So you can easily copy paste and make your citation. Because it requires multitasking and all humans cannot do those things simultaneously. So tools are coming, digital tools, they are coming to help the researchers in citing things in a proper way. When there were no tools, everything was done manually. So separate cards people were keeping. So while you are referring to a book in a library, you have this cards, playing cards we have, the same way there are blank cards. And on each and every card, you will make a reference. Surname, you will put the name, the source text, the year, everything you will put there. And all those cards you every time carry with you. Alphabetically, manually arranging it. Manually arranging, and then you can, so you go again there, and then again you refer, and then blank card, you write something, you arrange alphabetically. So whenever you go for presentation, somebody is asking that show me this. So you will open your box and you will show it that this is the card, this is the reference, this is the book, this is what I have referred, this page number there. So you have to carry all those things. Now it has become so easy nowadays. So compared to that, we find it is very easy. But what I see is that you find this also very difficult. This also seems to be very difficult in understanding and putting it into practice also. So that is still not happening the way it is expected. Now it is very easy, but still maybe more practice will be required to work out on those things. Rest of the things were fine. Some of the comments we have given in between to all of you also. Okay? So wish you all the best for the last presentation of this third season. There tomorrow we'll have the last presentation. We are ending our session here.